Out at Mousetail State Park. It's about halfway between Memphis and Nashville, right along the Tennessee River. Going out on Eagle Point Trail. It's about an 8-mile trail. Getting a somewhat late start this afternoon due to an opportunity to enjoy my son's baseball game. So I'm going to hike out 3 miles to shelter number 2, set up camp, and then in the morning I'll hike back out. So I'll take you along for the journey. Hopefully be able to show you some beautiful views of the Tennessee River. What's interesting about this trail is that it is moss covered for a good distance, and so it's almost like walking on green carpet. So as you can see, we've had some pretty severe weather come through West Tennessee in the last month, and I got some deadfall as a result, so trail maintenance hasn't caught up, so we'll just work our way over it. That wasn't too terribly bad. So for the most part the trail is pretty heavily wooded, but every once in a while you do run across a clearing like this. I can only imagine how many deer are out here bedding down at night or eating a little dinner. We're finally to the split in the trail. It's an 8-mile trail, but first 2 or so miles are an in and out, and then there's a loop at the end. So we're going to go to the left, go to shelter number 2, hoping to see a beautiful sunset over the Tennessee River. I'll actually complete the loop and come out to this point tomorrow and backtrack over the portion we just finished. All right, about 2.5 miles in or so out of my 3 miles today, and wanted to test out my Petco UltraPod. Able to use it much like a stick pick, but I don't have trekking poles, so I'm able to use the Velcro wrap and put it around any 1-inch branch I can find. So pick this up, shoot my video, set it aside, good to go. So love the functionality the stick pick brings, and I was able to duplicate that with the Petco Ultra. So after walking 3 miles through all those heavy trees, up and down, this is the view that I came out here for. Beautiful view of the Tennessee River. So this is where I'll be setting up my hammock and hopefully have a beautiful sunset and wake up to a nice sunny morning. So after searching around the site a little bit, this is what I've settled on. So the tree on the left and the right will be the anchor for my hammock, and you can see the beautiful view down the Tennessee River to the south. So here's my setup for the night with my Hennessy hammock, my Jack's Are Better nest underquilt, and a Jack's Are Better top quilt. Got the tarp set up in porch mode. Went to bed, it was about 80 degrees or so, got down to 69 last night, so it's the warmest night I think I've had my hammock, so definitely had to play around with the underquilt to get some air circulation, not to overheat, and didn't use my top quilt much either, just a nice comfortable night out in the woods. Did have a small shower come through, maybe 3 a.m. in the morning, nothing major, just, less than 1/10 of an inch I'm sure. Also got to see a couple of barges come through. It's pitch black outside, and then their huge spotlights would shine into the shoreline, which then went into my hammock, so that woke me up a few times, but was able to quickly get back to sleep. Starting to get a little low on water, and it's hotter and more humid than I expected. Unfortunately, everywhere I cross a potential water source, it's more of a gully than a creek. So no running water here unless it's a really heavy rain. Definitely a lot of ups and downs today, but definitely a beautiful day for hiking. Any minute now I expect the Energizer Bunny to cut across the screen, because this climb just keeps going and going and going. Still climbing. I think I can see the ridge, but I've said that before. Let's hope it's getting close. I mentioned this is a long climb. Still going. Probably 10 minutes or so. If I was in the Smokies, I'd understand, but I'm in West Tennessee. Not supposed to be this hilly. But I'm getting close. I think I see the top. Shelter 1 is very similar to Shelter 2. Does not offer the views that we saw at Shelter 2, so I'm glad I stayed where I did last night. Definitely looks like there's been some fairly recent activity here, but haven't seen anybody on the trails. Did take a short break, eat a little gorp, and refuel. Unfortunately, I am out of water, so hopefully I can make these last few miles without any water, although I do think I saw a creek on the way in that had some running water, so we'll see. Trail is kind of lollipop shaped. It's got a 2-mile inlet, 4-mile loop, and then a 2-mile backtrack to get back to trailhead. So I've completed that 4-mile loop. Maiden voyage with my circuit from ULA. Very, very satisfied with how it's carrying the weight. Started out with a base weight of about 14 pounds, and food and water brought it up to 22. Mentioned earlier I'm out of water, so I'm well under 20 now. Carrying it very well, much better than the $60 backpack I had picked up from Amazon just to get started. Definitely a worthwhile investment. Definitely getting thirsty. I was hoping I might find some water running through here, but all I see is a little standing water down there by the fallen tree, and well, I'm not that thirsty. And got that beautiful green mossy trail. I finally saw my first hiker. He's just doing a day hike out to Eagle Point and back. Otherwise, it's been complete solitude out here. Woodpecker in the background if you listen. One of the few clearings I've had today. This little rock outcropping. If it were lunchtime, it'd be a great spot to sit for lunch, but far too early for that, so I'm going to keep going. I found a source of moving water, so I'm going to fill up my water bottle. I've already mixed up my Aquamira, letting it stand for 5 minutes so that it can activate. Dump it in the container, wait 20 minutes, and I'll be drinking some purified water. Also going to grab my bandana, soak it in this cool water, put it around my neck. It's still pretty steamy out this morning. I believe I can see the trailhead from here. It's been a good overnighter, pretty quick overnight, 8 miles. Chance to test out some of my gear, get outside. Definitely will be back. It's a nice location. It's about an hour from home, so it'll be a good location for another overnighter. Thanks for joining me. That wraps up my hiking trip to Mousetail Landing State Park and Eagle Point Trail. Wife and mother-in-law were very concerned about snakes following all the floods. The good news is I saw more turtles than I did snakes, so all was good. So hitting the road, going home. Some of you may be wondering how I've been getting some of these shots on a solo hike. This is the Pedco Ultra, and with a Velcro strap I can wrap it around a tree up to 3 inches. This Pedco can also be used as a standard tripod. You can see it's got a mini ball head. You loosen the thumb wheel, you can angle the camera anywhere you want, tighten it back up. Works pretty slick.